إن الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستهديه وعليه نتوكل ونتوب إليه ونعوذ به من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا من يهد الله فهو المهتد ومن يضلل فلن تجد له وليا مرشدا وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له له الملك وله الحمد يحيي ويميت وهو على كل شيء قدير وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله فصلوات الله تعالى عليه وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. إن الله وملائكته يصلون على النبي يا أيها الذين آمنوا صلوا عليه وسلموا تسليما وسلموا عليكم اليوم بتحية الجنة. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله تعالى وبركاته. Inshallah, today, after, of course, opening by stating all praise belongs to Allah, who is alone and only one to worship, we seek His aid and assistance, and we ask for His guidance, and we ask Allah to send His peace and blessings upon the best of creation, Muhammad, and upon his family and those who follow him until the end of time. I'm going to keep it short since we ran a little bit behind. I want to just relate a verse from Sūrah al-Baqarah for us to contemplate today and to appreciate the moment that we're in. I think even the fact that we're doing this on Zoom versus on YouTube, right? The time we're living in has disrupted our sense of normalcy. It has disrupted our comfort level, but we still have a purpose and a job to do. And in that, Allah Ta'ala says, Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim, وَكَذَلِكَ جَعَلْنَاكُمْ أُمَّةً وَسَطًا لِتَكُونُوا شُهَدَاءَ عَلَى النَّاسِ وَيَكُونَ الرَّسُولُ عَلَيْكُمْ شَهِيدًا. Allah Ta'ala says in the second chapter of the Quran, He said, in this way, we have made you to be a community of the middle way, the Ummah Wasata, right? We are to be a people of balance and in the middle way. And this is not to be at peace or some kind of Zen thing. Actually, Allah says there's even a purpose greater behind this, that I have made you a middle community. What? لِتَكُونَ شُهَدَاءَ عَلَى النَّاسِ. Right? We are supposed to be the witnesses for mankind. What is a witness? You know, in a court system, a witness is called forth to give testimony about the truth so that the decision can be made, so justice can be rendered. So people have a sense of, the broader society has faith that there's a system working, that justice can be done, that it gives people a sense of security. And in that way, we should be doing that. And now people feel very insecure, whether that's due to obviously the pandemic of the coronavirus affecting the world in its entirety, or whether it's from the missteps of leadership suggesting that we all drink bleach. All of these things undermine people's sense of security, and it causes people to panic, and it causes people to have despair. We should be the community that absolutely has no despair. Certainly we have our discomforts, our normalcy is disrupted, but we have been made for a greater purpose to actually be able to be shuhada ala nas. People need to have witnesses at this time, people that they feel that they can rely upon, that bring a sense of balance and normalcy. So in our discussions and in our goings about, inshallah, we can try to reflect on how we can be people of who stand in the middle. When we said yesterday in the dua of Sūrah al-Fatiha, we ask Allah to make us from amongst the people of istiqamah. We ask Allah, we beg Him, Ihdina as-sirāta al-mustaqīm. Oh Allah, make us from amongst the people who are upright, the people of righteousness. And of course, when you read the stories of the people of righteousness, their life is one of sometimes nonstop difficulty. So we should embrace this time of difficulty and set a good example for other people, including those in our own family. We should set a good example for those in our own family. Allah says, وَلِتَكُونُوا شُهَدَاءَ عَلَى النَّاسِ وَيَكُونَ الرَّسُولُ عَلَيْكُمْ شَهِيدًا. And then also remembering It's not just about telling other people what to do. We have an example to live up to, and that the Prophet ﷺ has also been set up as a witness for us. So we have an obligation to follow the Sunnah, to follow his example. وما جعلنا القبلة التي كنت عليها إلا لنعلم من يتبع الرسول. And he says in the affair that, of course, we know in the beginning of the revelation, the direction of prayer, the Qibla, used to be Jerusalem, Al-Quds. And then it was changed to Mecca Mukarramah, it was changed to the Haram, the Masjid in Mecca, to the Kaaba. And Allah is saying that we changed this in part due to we wanted to see who is really following and who is really paying attention, who really is a follower in their heart and not is just either riding a bandwagon, or who only wants to be, who is it that only wants to be, they're in their comfort zone. They're in their comfort zone. And so Allah is saying that, we have changed the direction of the Qibla from Al-Quds, from Jerusalem to Mecca. What لِنَعْلَمَ مَنْ يَتَّبِعَ الرَّسُولِ, who is really following the Prophet. And in fact, this even further demonstrates for us in terms as Muslims for our Islam. One of the barometers that we can measure our Islam by is how much we are adhering to following the Prophet ﷺ. And Allah is saying that He changed it, right? He said, وَمَا جَعَلْنَا الْقِبْلَةَ الَّتِي, right? And we didn't change the direction of the Qibla, right? For any other reason, الَّتِي كُنْتَ عَلَيْهَا إِلَّا لِنَعْلَمَ مَنْ يَتَّبِعَ الرَّسُولِ, to see who is following the Rasul, right? مِمَّنْ يَنْقَلِبُ عَلَىٰ عَقِبَيْهِ. In deference or difference to what? Those who are just simply, who are turning around on their heels, or they don't like change. And certainly this whole issue with COVID-19, with the coronavirus, it has brought tremendous change into our lives. And we often don't like change. We like things to stay as they are. And sometimes Allah will cause a momentous change. And certainly in the way that COVID-19 is a tremendous change for us, we can also see that, particularly in the reaction of the communities in the Hijaz, when Allah changed the Qibla, the direction of prayer, when He changed it from Jerusalem to Mecca, this was earth-shattering for some people. They could not believe that this was happening. And it's a reminder that, one, Allah does with His creation as He wants. It's His affair, conduct as He decides. And it is up, and we have to have a measure of flexibility in order to be able to adapt to sometimes when circumstances change. So in the same way that those early communities had to adapt the change from the Qibla from Jerusalem to Mecca, something earth-shattering for them, likewise our lives have also changed tremendously. But we should be, again, what? Shuhada ala nas. We should be setting a good example for people by being the community of what? We are the Ummah Wasata, we are the middle way in the community. And then the Prophet ﷺ himself is what? He is Shahidan alayna. He is a witness for us. And that we go wherever Allah directs, and we go in whichever way that the Prophet ﷺ directs. إِلَّا لِنَعْلَمَ مَنْ يَتَبِعَ الرَّسُولَ مِمَّنْ يَنْقَلِبُ عَلَى عَقِبَيْهِ. And Allah says, وَإِنْ كَانَتْ لَكَبِيرَةٌ إِلَّا عَلَى الَّذِينَ هَدَى اللَّهُ. Right? When we face momentous times of major shift or major change, people will feel this is an enormous thing, except for people that have guidance from Allah. So another barometer of how we can measure our faith is to contemplate when we have some, as we say, fitan, some trials, some tribulations, some ibtila, some tests. What is our reaction to it? If our reaction is within the general spectrum of, wow, this is hard, this is difficult, this is not easy, even myself, right, setting this up beforehand, I was very frustrated with YouTube and having to do all this stuff. But alhamdulillah, I have to accept that this is what it is. And that it shouldn't be a major thing because Allah says what? وَإِن كَانَتْ لَكَبِيرَةً إِلَّا عَلَى الَّذِينَ هَدَى اللَّهُ. It will be a major thing except for those that Allah has guided. So to look at yourself and how you're dealing with big changes in your life. It could be this, or it could be something else. It could be a change in a job, a loss of a parent, or anything else, something major in your life. And if you're able to stay within a spectrum of emotional reaction that is human but doesn't go to extremes, then alhamdulillah, then inshallah you have the guidance of Allah. وَمَا كَانَ اللَّهُ لِيُضِيعَ إِيمَانَكُمْ. And then Allah says, when we afflict you with big change, right? When we afflict you with hardship, when we afflict you with major change, when we rock your boat, and then you make the effort to adapt to this, Allah says, what? وَمَا كَانَ اللَّهُ لِيُضِيعَ إِيمَانَكُمْ. Allah will never allow your iman to go to waste. Allah will never allow your efforts to deal with the changes that Allah is making in your life and in your world. Allah will never allow this to go to waste. So don't feel that, in this time I'm stuck at the house, or I'm stuck here, or I can't go where I normally go, or do what I want to do. In this time, especially in Ramadan, some of us may be feeling, somewhat a little bit sad because we're not able to go to the masjid in the way that we used to do. And it's normal and right for us to feel sad, right? But understand, when you are doing your worship at home, when you're maintaining your salah, and inshallah this month we're maintaining our fast, and we try to increase our remembrance of Allah and our worship of Him. Like Allah says what? وَمَا كَانَ اللَّهُ لِيُضِلَّ إِيمَانَكُمْ. Allah will not allow this to go to waste. إِنَّ اللَّهَ بِالنَّاسِ لَرَءُوفٌ رَحِيمٌ. And Allah, when it comes to humanity, when it comes to mankind, including the believer, right? That Allah is what? Ra'uf. He is gentle. So even though we are in a difficult time, right? Look and concentrate on those blessings in your life. As Allah said, if you try to count the blessings, you will not be able to do so. And that Allah is bin nasi la ra'ufur rahim. He is gentle and He is merciful. So during this time, we should, read. This is, again, matter of fact, if you're reading today, today being the second day of Ramadan, or going into the second juz'ah, inshallah. This is right around the beginning. Matter of fact, the second juz'ah of the Quran is ayah 142, verse 142 of Sūrah al-Baqarah of the second chapter. And this is the verse right after that. So think about this, inshallah, as we end the first khutbah here. And ask Allah, inshallah, ij'alna min ash-shuhada 'ala an-nas. We ask Allah to indeed make us those witnesses, those shaheed for humanity. And وَاجْعَلْنَا مَنْ يَتَّبِعُونَ الرَّسُولِ. May Allah Ta'ala make us from amongst those who follow and obey His Prophet to the best of our ability. والصلوات والسلام على النبي الكريم وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. أولا نسأل الله بالعافية. ربنا اغفر لنا ذنوبنا وكفر عنا سيئاتنا. استغفر الله استغفر الله استغفر الله إنك أنت الغفور الرحيم. الحمد لله وحده والصلوات والسلام على رسوله المصطفى وعلى آله وصحبه ومن والاه وبعد. So understand that we are living in extraordinary times, but along with those extraordinary times, inshallah, also come extraordinary reward. And of course, we can never ever we can never emphasize enough the importance of the hereafter. Every test and trial that you go through in life, as Allah says, it is done to determine which of you are the best. And that meaning, not best in this life, but ultimately, as it will have a resolution in the hereafter, inshallah, in the garden, in Jannah, Firdaus, inshallah. So as we deal with these things, and we have to understand there are a promise. If you keep reading shortly after the passage that we just read, actually in Sūrah al-Baqarah, Allah says, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, وَلَنَبْلُوَنَّكُمْ بِشَيْءٍ مِنَ الْخَوْفِ وَالْجُوعِ وَنَقْصٍ مِنَ الْأَمْوَالِ وَالْأَنفُسِ وَالثَّمَرَاتِ. Allah says, without a doubt, وَلَنَبْلُوَنَّكُمْ, right? This is in the form of the qasam, right? Allah is making an oath called this nun tashdid. He's swearing an oath without a doubt. We will give you a bala. And as we had discussed before, the difference between fitna and bala, right? Generally, fitna deals with something that may involve desires, right? So you're trying to gain something and something is tempting you. It's a test, but it's usually through a form of a temptation. And a bala, when Allah says this, right? For instance, if you look in the word, وَلَنَبَلُوَنَّكُمْ from bala, this usually involves loss. It's a test, but through losing something. So when Allah is saying that you will indeed بِشَيْءٍ مِنَ الْخَوْفِ, right? From something you fear. All of us we either fear for ourselves, for the coronavirus, or we fear for our loved ones. Maybe an elderly parent, an elderly neighbor, friend, or whatnot, or perhaps we have a condition, and Allah says, we are promising that you will experience these things of what? Khawf, wal-ju', hunger, and this is scary for some people around the world. It isn't just that they can't go to Starbucks and get their latte as they normally do. This is seriously impacting some people in certain parts of the world, and perhaps even in some parts of America, of food insecurity. And Allah is saying this is a promise from Him. This is wa'ad Allah. What al-khawf al-ju' wa naqsum min al-amwal. And also a loss, we will threaten you and give you a test and trial of loss of wealth. Many of us, our jobs have been affected by COVID-19, and we're seeing this across the globe now. And people are panicking and worrying about what is going to be the economic impacts of this long term and so on. And these are real, serious, and legitimate concerns. And Allah is telling us about this in His book. And He says not only from naqsum min al-amwal, but He says what? Min al-anfus, even loss of life. We will test you with that. And then it's amazing. Those two things, wealth and life, we would think, yes, these are major things. And He says what? وَالثَّمَرَاتِ. And then fruits, right? Which, if you put your mind, we can transport ourselves, inshallah, back 1,400 years ago, right? There was no Snickers bars, or in my case, there was no profiteroles. I just made profiteroles last night, right? There was no desserts and chocolate cakes and, all of these things, right? There was fruits. Fruits were, in the pre-modern world, fruits were the delight of a person who maybe lived a very simple life, right? They may have lived a very, very simple life. And you may think, and that's why some people feel like, oh man, I can't go and get my little treat. I can't go to the Starbucks or this or that or the cafe or right? I'm missing those little things too. And it shows how, and Allah understands the workings of the human mind, right? Fear, hunger, loss of wealth. Sometimes we care more about money than life, and it's interesting that Allah why does He put loss of wealth before loss of life in the wording of the ayah? Because for us, sometimes we love money more than life itself. And then loss of life, and then what? The delights of life, athamarat. But then He gives the Prophet ﷺ a command, who is shaheed alayna, right? وَبَشِّرِ الصَّابِرِينَ. Doesn't say وَبَشِّرِ الْمُؤْمِنِينَ. وَبَشِّرِ الصَّابِرِينَ. And give good news to the people who have grit, perseverance, intestinal fortitude, that are going to be able to deal with all of the things that was just listed. No more delights in life like we used to have. Loss of loved one in life, loss of wealth, right? Not eating, and what? Just general fear and anxiety. And Allah is saying that despite all that, Ya Muhammad alayhi salam, wa bashir as-sabirin. Give good news to those, because if you are perseverant in this, it's not that it will make the coronavirus go away. That's Allah's affair. Whether it goes away tomorrow or 10 tomorrows from now or 10 years from now, we will all have to leave this life. And Allah is going to judge us, right? We're always talking about only Allah judges. Well, okay, now we get to the part where Allah judges. Allah will judge us upon what? Our ability to have sabr in what situations? What? from fear, al-khawf, wal-ju', perhaps even hunger, وَنَقْصٌ مِّنَ الْأَمْوَالِ وَالْأَنفُسِ وَالثَّمَرَاتِ, right, and all those major things in life, right? And therefore we will be judged upon our sabr as well as our iman, as it is a part of iman. So inshallah, may Allah Ta'ala bless you to endure this time with a good opinion, with a happy countenance, and inshallah, may He put happiness in the hearts of yourselves and in the hearts of your family during this very difficult time. And inshallah, ij'alkum min as-sabirin. May Allah Ta'ala indeed make you from the people of sabr and the people that can withstand if you have been affected by any of these, whether it's loss of life, wealth, delights of life, fear, and whatnot. May Allah Ta'ala, inshallah, put sabr in your heart, and inshallah, zadakum iman. May Allah Ta'ala, inshallah, increase your iman during this time. نسأل الله بالعافية ونسأله أن يصلي وسلم على النبي الكريم وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. Of course, we ask him to bless our leader, our Maulana, our Shaheed, our witness and our guide in this life, Muhammad ibn Abdullah, the final prophet sent to mankind, وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين, and upon his beloved family, his noble house, and anyone who follows him until the end of time. وجزاك الله خيرا. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله تعالى وبركاته.